Hi, I'm Spenny, the Invisible Five. Wanted to share a rehearsal video from the second piece that I did for the live performance at May's Books, Dreaming in Sound. Thanks Ryan Searle for the awesome print. The posters turned out great. Also, huge shout out to Dave and Kim at May's Books in Rockford, Illinois for hosting the event, letting us come and make a whole bunch of racket in their bookstore. It was so much fun. Got to meet a bunch of cool new people. Swim, Ignorant Fire, and Slow Dog were amazing. Yeah, tons of fun. Anyways, this was the second song that I did. Hope you enjoy.
through the air as vibrations, which are detected by the eardrum and interpreted by the brain.
Thanks for watching. If you stuck around, I wanted to use this opportunity to explain the first piece that I played at Maze Books, in case anyone had questions, if you were there, or if you weren't there, what you missed out on was me putting a MIDI controller for the audience to use with sloppily labeled buttons with random words on them that would affect Ableton, the DAW that I use for the set. So some of them would change effects. They would turn on a phaser, flanger, delays. There's a cool delay that simulates radio signals being bounced off the moon, so it would degrade the return signal. Some of them would trigger clips, MIDI clips in Ableton, which Ableton has this feature where you can have it follow and go to a different clip when it's done, or stay on the same clip, and you can affect that with probability. So the two monosynths that I had set to a bunch of these clips in a scale with those notes, so each clip was just a really long MIDI note. And if it was on the root or fifth or a note that I wanted it to stick on a little bit more, I would put a higher probability that it would just repeat that same clip. If it's a note that was more of a passing tone, I would have more of a probability leaning towards it selecting any other random note in that scale that I had picked out. So once that got started, you could certainly hit a button that would change it back to that note, but it would continue on throughout the set. Or there was a button, and I'm not sure if anyone pressed it, that would have stopped everything. I didn't let anybody know what any of this was beforehand, and there was a reason behind that. I wanted to make ambient music more engaging, and so much of ambient music, atmospheric music in general, is minimalism and making small changes over large periods of time, which can be boring if you're not in the mind to really want to listen to that. Me, I find it enthralling, but I'm a weirdo. Obviously, I'm talking to you about a piece of music that I played in the bookstore with a bunch of keyboards. That being said, it had an effect of kind of tricking the audience into active listening. So whether or not they were the one that pressed the button, or if you press the button, you'd have to listen for what was changing. And it might not have been something very obvious. And if you saw someone else press a button, you might wonder, what did they change? So on the flip side of that, I have no control over what button they pressed, or would know what button they would press. And that made me actively listen as well. Obviously, I would be doing that regardless, but I would have a much more controlled sense of what's changing as I'm going along. Sure, I could have just, had those random notes trigger by themselves, but by having the audience play along with me, it made me think about it differently. It made me listen and change what I was doing in kind of an interesting way. And I want to try more of this. So next time for the ambient shows, I think I might try and build a controller that's a little bit more friendly to approach, something bigger than a little cheap pad controller, something that has some feedback with maybe a light on the button. I was thinking arcade buttons and hooking it up to an Arduino or something to send those MIDI controls out. Regardless, it was a lot of fun, and I hope you guys enjoyed it if you were there. If not, you missed out, but there'll be more. I'll see you in the next one.